won't waste your time. We have 26 years to reach net zero. What I will spend time on is what Rux believes are the critical elements we need as a nation and as a united world front. So we don't just meet our 2030 goals, we also secure our pathway to net zero 2050. I've been driven by the climate crisis since age 10, and I founded Rux through breakthroughs from my PhD in chemistry, and we're accelerating our path to zero carbon. And we're doing it through advanced nanoporous materials called MOFs. With our MOFs, which have ultra-high hydrogen selectivity, we're creating a system that revolutionises storage, solving problems of inefficiency, safety, and prohibitive cost, currently preventing the global deployment of the one fuel that will abate 47% of the world's emissions, hydrogen. Rux MOFs are like magic sponges for hydrogen, and they seem to bend the laws of physics. For context, just 1 gram of our MOF has the surface area of an entire football field. Wild, huh? Whether we allow ourselves to recognize it or not, tall poppy syndrome, am I right? Australia is a world leader in breakthrough tech, both for fossil fuels and clean energy. And when it comes to renewables, Australia is responsible not only for the discovery of the solar cell, but for continuing to break its world record efficiency for 30 out of the last 38 years. So let's agree we're ahead of the curve, and we're really great at discovering new solutions. The thing is, today, discovering solutions isn't enough, not to reach net zero. We have to continue to innovate and adopt ecosystem-wide mission-critical approach. The phenomena seen with solar tech, where it's now cheaper to deploy than refuel the cheapest existing fossil fuel power stations, is unprecedented. We need that to become the standard. American futurist Ramez Nam studied the cost of solar over a decade ago, forecasting it would drop 5 times the rate the IEA believed, and then he saw it drop even more. He says, clean energy technologies are technologies, and they drop in cost. As they're scaled, they come down in price. Meanwhile, fossil fuels are commodities, and prices fluctuate over time. We have to approach our net zero strategies through a new economic lens, one that builds this kind of learning curve data into our strategic forecast and deployment, so we can dovetail breakthrough technologies in real time and prevent lock-in of outdated and obsolete ones. Rux believes green hydrogen has the potential to unblock our net zero pathway. It's the only power fuel that can compete with diesel, kerosene, and LNG, making it the undeniable first choice for heavy industry. And yet, it's currently less than 1% of the world's dispatchable fuel. We're working on changing that with our magic MOFs and pilot trials, but rather than talking about us, I want to share 3 pillars of hydrogen, the opportunities they present, and what needs to happen next. Production, storage and distribution, and use are the holy trinity of the green hydrogen value chain. Innovation is required in all 3 to improve usability and drive down the total cost, and Australia is uniquely placed to drive this innovation. Production is set to drop below $1.50 US per kilo of hydrogen by 2030, with Australia, Oman, and Chile taking the lead. We're on the right track, and our opportunity is to align with global policy trends led by the US, enabling rapid commercialization of our homegrown tech, ultimately dropping that price even lower. But when it comes to storage, there's a problem. Current methods are plagued by energy losses and high cost, as well as extreme toxicity. To date, no alternatives have been viable. Enter Rux Energy. Our MOFs pose none of the typical safety hazards, and we're creating an end-to-end solution that radically improves storage efficiency across unlimited use cases and territories. Our storage and distribution cost goal is $1.50 by 2030, rather than the current $15. But that requires mass coordination of an intermodal freight ecosystem to move hydrogen at an enormous scale while pipelines are still in development. So Australia's next opportunity is to follow our lead, enabling rapid commercialization to help scale not just Rux's technology, but also the Australian components we're relying on to deliver our solution. If we get the blueprint right, Australia can access the value of lowest cost storage and distribution first, and then share these learnings globally to improve the chances of success worldwide. An IKEA cheat sheet for the most complicated build in the world. As for hydrogen use, pre-2020, the highest efficiency we could expect was 60% from a fuel cell. And while that's a massive improvement on the 35% of an internal combustion engine, it's still not good enough to meet our net zero needs. Our friends at UK startup Kanga are developing internal combustion engines with an epic 70% efficiency, with the potential to revolutionise the application sector by lowering the cost of hydrogen to end users. So Australia has to build cross-border collaboration, regardless of the origin. We simply must trial and deploy the best tech for the job. Until now, Manufacturing has been treated as a silo. The future success of the world relies on us placing individual manufacturers within systems of collaboration. Now, Rux has spent 5 years studying the best global techniques, and we've developed our own manufacturing theory, clustering diverse capability, high R&D intensity, vertically integrated supply chains, cooperative product development, training, and end-to-end investment. We're building our ecosystem based on these principles, combining growth in our own technical resilience with fostering interdependence with our partners, because we know we can't do this alone. We need ecosystem collaboration over competition and coordination over isolation. We must work together to abate at least 17.3 gigatons of carbon each year by 2049. Governments worldwide must provide funding to trial all novel technologies to determine their end-to-end efficiency and safety, and whether they're stopgaps or viable long-term solutions. The risk of not collaborating is that the world won't reach net zero. Cross-border investing, like the Australian-Singapore Green Economy Agreement, is a great example of how we can share data and technology at pace. The risk of not coordinating is that we make poor investment choices. Solely scaling mature tech that's unlikely to get cheaper creates blockers for the more efficient, safer alternatives in 5 to 10 years' time. It's a process error we simply don't have time to make. Taking time now to find options that ensure the success of the long-term goals rather than just the immediate one is the fastest way to net zero, and is only possible when we work collectively. Australia is uniquely placed to lead this transition. We can enable economic development by providing the technology to deliver low-cost green energy for 5 billion people across the Indo-Pacific. But despite the sophistication of our tech, we tend to take a backseat in driving change. The time has come to pick the mantle of world leadership. We need to upskill several million workers to deliver the next 26 years of transition. We need to leverage Australia's education reputation to train millions of domestic and foreign students across every area from manufacturing and STEM to safety and certification. If we do this, we enable a faster, more efficient and safe journey, and we deliver full sustainability rather than just tons of carbon abatement. If we take the lead, we get to project our democratic values to the world, enabling a just, equitable and inclusive energy transition. The world has to move fast because we're running out of time. And Australia has to move even faster because if we don't, we'll lose our chance to lead the next most difficult stage, decarbonising the world's hardest to abate sectors. By leveraging Rux's first mover advantage, we can foster an advanced manufacturing boom in Australia. But if we need to do it a new way, with a collaborative, coordinated, mission-critical and systems thinking approach to plan the decades ahead across every sector. And if we do it with our values in mind, we're going to change the world.